Yeah, so this particular topic, I'm very glad that so many people are on this today, because I think this particular webinar could do something that I think that if you do what I'm talking about with your legal career, it could j- alter the entire course of your life, if you understand what I've been talking about today. Give me 1 second and I'll start with questions. And again, there's many questions. There's not a ton of questions today, so looks like we're going to be, people don't have, these look like very good questions, but they, you can ask anything you want, answer it related to this from anything else. So I'm a junior associate at mid-sized firm and I've been struggling to build a strong client base. Okay. Despite putting long hours and trying to network, I find it challenging to attract new clients. Can you provide tips on how to effectively market myself and build lasting client relationships? If you're a junior associate, I don't know that it's important to worry about getting clients right now. You can certainly network, but your first 5 years of practice being an attorney are really to learn and get trained. I don't think you certainly can worry about getting business early on, but you don't even know what you're doing. But yet, I don't know that it's going to be productive for you to try to get clients. So this is just another point for everyone that's on this call that it's a young attorney. You should not care about money. Your first 5 years of practice, you should not worry about anything other than getting trained. What's so nice about being a young attorney with like less than 5 years of experience or whatever, is that you're getting paid to be trained. You do not learn how to be an attorney when you're in law school. It has absolutely nothing to do with it. It's related, but practicing law as an attorney is 10 times different than what you learn in law school. What you learn in law school is jiggly jigs, nothing compared to what you learn practicing law. Your first 5 years, you should not worry about trying to build clients to the extent you can network, you can stay close to your friends from law school, potentially, or people you met. You can do a good job with people with potential clients and things, but you need to learn how to become an attorney before you can ever worry about you should not worry about clients your first 5 years, or at least you should learn how to do what you are during your practice here. After being laid off from my previous firm for downsizing, I've been applying for new positions for several months without success. How can I address my gap in my employment during interviews, or what strategies can I use this to not from a competitive job market? Okay, so here's a couple of things. If you have been laid off from your previous firm due to downsizing, you have to ask, who am I competing with for jobs? Competing with for jobs. So this question basically means if you are applying for job openings, who are you competing with? Who's your competition? Your competition is people with jobs, right? So people with jobs are your competition, and people with better qualifications than you, right? So people with better qualifications than you. So those are those are the people that you're competing with when you're applying to openings. So do you honestly think, and I'm sorry, but unless your qualifications are exceptional, like you went to anything else, you're competing with people that with better qualifications. If there's 100 applicants for a job, that's probably applicants for a job. How many of those people have jobs? Maybe 75 can have jobs. And so if you don't have a job, and again, I'm going to give you an answer that helps you, but I'm just telling you that if you're laid off, that's who you're competing with. The other problem, I just want everyone to understand, if you are laid off from a firm, the people that are providing the most value, that are working the hardest, whose heart's in it, who look committed, are never the ones that are laid off. The law firm will hold on to them at all costs. Our company, of course, because of the economy and things, has been through ups and downs, but the people that are the most valuable, I would never think of letting go under any circumstance, because I would just as soon not pay my mortgage almost, because the people that are most valuable you never want to let them go. So you don't want to get laid off. The people that are laid off are typically, now that it doesn't apply to everyone, but the people that are the best are always kept on. So if you're laid off, that's why it's not good as an attorney to have any gaps in your employment. So let me just see here right now what I'm going to do. Okay, so here's the deal. So if you are looking for a position, the smartest thing you can do, 85% of the placements that we make at BCG Attorney Search are of candidates that are of places where there's actually no job opening. We go out and we find the job. Well, we find a firm that's likely to hire them, and then we send them there. Law firms are businesses, so if they have billable hour work they could have other people do that's not being done, or if they're personal injury attorneys and they could use other people, you can get a job with them. The smartest thing you can do is if you want a job and you want to work, say, let's say you want to work in, I'm just trying to come up with some random areas here, Cleveland, Ohio, and let's say you do commercial litigation. You could say a litigation law firm. So I'm just giving you an example, litigation law firms. Let's even say commercial litigation. Commercial litigation law firms in Cleveland. So you do this and you just see this here, it's just a search. And then all of a sudden you're getting all of these different law firms, which should be listed here, that do commercial litigations. You have Jones Day and the Chandra law firm and everything, but you're going to get all of these huge amounts of different law firms. And this is very substantive. You have hundreds of law firms that do commercial litigation. So there's no excuse. You should not be applying to jobs. You should be applying to firms that, I don't know what's going on here with this Google, but you should be applying to personal injury. I guess I don't really understand why that came up. But if you wanted to do personal injury, you can find every single person, every single law firm that does this. And you could go to work for Tom Merriman or whoever. But my point is that you need to go out and find places that don't have jobs. Don't even have jobs if you want to get a job. Because if a law firm needs someone, or if someone can use someone, and you apply, you are the only applicant. And if you're the only applicant, then it's very easy. You're not competing with other people. Your background's not competing with other people. And it's very easy to hire you if you are the only applicant. So think about this. Again, say you're looking for say you have a lawn and a garden or whatever. Where I'm from, Michigan, people have lawns and you need to have someone mow it. And say you've been mowing the lawn every weekend, but it's a lot of work. This is what people do, or at least where I grew up in Michigan. It's a lot of work to mow this lawn every week. It's just complete buzzkill. Like you have to do it every Saturday, but sometimes you do it Saturday morning. And say that you've been thinking it would be great to have someone maybe do this work for you. Someone appears at your door and they say, "Hey, I mow lawns in your street. Would you like me to mow your lawn?" The only person that ever does that. And you say, "Hell yeah." Then you hire the person to mow your lawn, so you don't have to do anymore. And it gives you more free time. Say you put an ad out and you say, "I'm looking for people to mow my lawn," and 20 people show up. You're going to hire the person, probably the nicest truck that does it the less. Who knows? But so being the only applicant for a job is the smartest freaking way to get a job. And the only way you're going to be your only applicant is if you're smart enough to do what I'm talking about here. You find places that need people like you. Well, let me just run. I to be able to make it faster. Not good. Oh, that's not good either. That's not the right. I'm not going to worry about this. But I just want everyone to understand Memphis intellectual property law firms, whatever practice area you're in, wherever you want to work. It's just, you can find positions or places to apply just like this. It's really, this is all you need to do, man. So look at these people. This patent attorney right here, John Risby. No one in the world, if you're a patent attorney, I bet you would not apply to him if you were in Memphis. You probably wouldn't have jobs. But if you wanted to get a job, the smartest thing in the world would be to look at these people. Wow, Francisco Castro. There's a patent agent. There's a lot going on here, man. So you have to be able to find these kind of places, and you have to be able to apply to firms that no one else is finding. And what's this name? This is called the John Risby firm. So all you need to do is you have to find John Risby, right? So you find, where the hell's John Risby? Whatever. Here's John Risby. So this is the guy whose law firm it is. So what do? You just go to his website and you find you got his phone number there, you got his email's not in here, then maybe it's right here. Let's see his email first. Quick. You find his email or you send him a letter and say, hey, I'm here in Memphis. I'm looking for a job in being a patent attorney or a trademark attorney. I love your background and blah, blah, blah. And could I interview with you? That's it. And you do this and he's got no job. There's no job out there, but he probably needs people to help him. So if you're a patent attorney, you want to work in Memphis, this is what you do. And you just keep going all these different places. And then you've got who you got here, Clifton Everett. So you would probably apply to Mr. Clift, right? So you tell him, well, I don't know. He looks probably like he would miss with I don't know why he says the year he's born. What is that, 84 years ago? So no, you probably wouldn't apply to Cliff. You'd probably apply to maybe Drop. Let's see here. Now he's an associate. But the point is, if you wanted to work in this area, you would the smartest thing to do would be where's Griffin? Is he around here? You'd probably apply to Griffin or something. So the point is you seek out places that don't have openings because you're most likely to get a job there. It's the smartest freaking thing to do. Again, everyone's told to just apply to jobs and things, but no, you apply to places that don't necessarily have openings and you're going to be much more successful. And that's that. Again, I hope I gave you a very long answer to that question, but I just hate that so many careers come crashing down because people don't apply for places that don't have openings. And that's the smartest thing you can freaking do. Wherever in the country you are, I don't care. Okay, the client base of my firm has been shrinking and I'm concerned about long-term stability. How can I evaluate the stability of my firm and decide if it's time to move to a firm with a robust client? Okay, this is a very good question. A very good question. It's actually one of the most important questions anybody could ask or has ever asked on this webinar. And I'll tell you why in a second. This is a incredibly important question. So I hope I'm going to read it again, and then I'll tell you why it's an important question. The client base at my firm has been shrinking, and I'm concerned about the long-term stability of my position. How can I evaluate the stability of my firm and decide if it's time to move to a firm with a more robust client base? Okay, so this is the reason this is so important. Very important. The number one most important thing for any attorney is having work. Nothing is more important than having work. So why is that important? It's important because if you don't have any work to do, then no money's coming in. If you don't have any work to do, then they're probably not doing a good job because people give the best attorneys get the most work. I mean, if you don't have any work to do, then you're at a law firm and you're an associate or something, then you're going to lose your job. You need to do good work. You need to have people giving you work. And this is how the game's played. Associates in law firms that do the best work have the most work. I don't want to sit here and brag, but I remember when I was at my first firm, Quinn Emanuel, I was doing a good job. I clerked before I went there, and I was very, very motivated. And I was surrounded by file cabinets. I couldn't even move my office because I had so many cases and so much work. Whereas the girl sitting next to me didn't any work in Columbia Law School with everything going on. And because people weren't giving her, if you want to become a partner in a law firm, they're going to evaluate you based on how much work you have and how much work you do compared to other attorneys. A lot of work you do is what you're evaluating on. The people giving you work and giving you repeat work is what you're evaluating on. Lawyers that are partners in law firms have to get work. The more work they bring in, the better work that they do, the more money they make, the more power they have on their law firm. Nothing, absolutely nothing in the legal profession, obviously having goals and stuff, but nothing is more important than having work and continuing to have work throughout your career. I had this thing very interesting, like it was 3 or 4 weeks ago. And I had this attorney that living in, I don't know, Erie, Pennsylvania or something. No, not Erie, like a bigger market, like Philadelphia. Maybe let's say Philadelphia. I don't want to give this guy away. He's probably on this call. There's so many people and hundreds of people. He's probably, so I'm not trying to insult him, but he's in Philadelphia. He'd been partner at 2 very prestigious law firms, the most prestigious. But he had had to give him work, and he didn't have his own clients. And then when there was no more work, or they could do work in a different way or something, they let him go. And he's been sitting around in Philadelphia for the past 8 or 9 months with no work and no job, even though he's been at these very prestigious firms and went to Stanford Law School or whatever, sitting around nowhere, unemployed. And so I got him interviews, like I got him an interview at a very good firm in some Midwestern city. I don't know. I don't remember which one, but it wasn't a well-known city, like Quincy, Illinois, or so. I don't remember, but it was someplace in the Midwest or a big city, maybe. I don't remember. But anyway, I got him an interview there, and I got him another interview, and he's making fun of the city and the law firm, and the law firm was booming. There was just so much work, and then I got an interview. It was crazy. Like, this law firm, it wasn't Quincy, Illinois, which is a southern city in Illinois, but whatever the city was, it was, the law firm had more work than a frickin' could handle. And I was like, I don't know why you're making fun of this law firm and working in Quincy, Illinois, because you've been sitting around for 9 months with no work. But these people just have more frickin' work than they can handle. Like, you better frickin' go there and give it everything you got, because this place has work and they're willing to hire you, even though it's business. And so he went there and he got the job. But the point is, you need to find access to work. Partners that don't have, they lose their jobs for having no work, don't have access to work. People get senior. This is the biggest cancer, that the biggest mistake that, I'm sorry to cover my face, but I'm just so amazed what happens to attorneys all the time. So they go someplace and the law firm keeps them around. They stay there for 6, 7 years. And then the law firm says, hey, thanks, but you don't have any work. Bye. Have a good one. And then basically they lose their jobs. And then they come to me, and I go and I remember, I go and I find firms that have work for them to do. And I'm pretty successful, but I usually need to, if the person in Chicago, I need to find a place in Grand Rapids, Michigan, I don't know, but someplace with work. So I need to find them a place. I need to find places that have work and that don't care that the person is senior. And so the most important thing, the only thing, is having access to work. You need to have access to work, whether or not that work's coming from someone else, meaning someone else has work to give you, or whether or not you're generating work on your own. So you will only succeed as a law firm attorney in the long run unless you're able to bring in work. So you need to bring in work. You will only succeed as a young attorney in a law firm unless you're able to unless there are people that give you work. You will only succeed in a law firm you go to unless that law firm itself has work. So here's your question. The client base of your firm has been shrinking. There could be all sorts of reasons for that. They could be doing bad work. They could be, clients could be, maybe the type of work that they do is no longer, I don't know. But you need to go to a place that has work. That's, if you're a junior associate or mid-level, that's the only possible way to survive, is to find a place that has work. So your number one goal as an attorney, regardless of who you are, is to go someplace with work. And the only way, and so if your client base is shrinking, then you need to find a firm that has work. And that's the other thing. One other thing I want to bring up, and this is something that a hidden mine in legal careers. So hidden road mine. If you're listening to this right now, this is going to be very helpful for a lot of people on this call. So I'm going to stop sharing just for a second, because I want to pull up a database. And I don't want to give away anybody's identity by pulling it. I'm going to pull this up, and then, oops, sorry. Give me 1 second, and then I'll share. This is very important, what I'm about to share right now, related to this. I'm going to do key search. I'm going to do, give me 1 second. There's some demo. Just give me a second. Okay, so this is a demo account. This is our BCG database where all this crap up, stuff. So this is a demo account. $100 million really billing this, still billing it. But anyway, let me just show you my point, right? Let me see, practice areas. Okay, so this is the thing with practice areas. What so many people don't understand, when you decide what type of attorney you want to be, or what type of attorney you think that you want to stay, there are some big roadmap, big minds and things to avoid. Because if your goal is to have access to work, you need to be very careful about what practice area you commit yourself to. Because every practice area has a certain amount of work. It has the ability to always have access to work, or sometimes never have access to work. So alcohol beverage law would be a very risky practice area because there's not a lot of firms that do it. Antitrust and competition is very dangerous because there's only, how it's done, mainly large firms that do it. And it's very difficult to bring in clients. Imagine what kind of client you need to represent Google. If you have to be if you want to be successful in a practice area like that and stay employed in the long run, you sure as hell better have a lot of confidence in yourself and ability to bring clients. That's very risky. Art and museum law, same thing. Bankruptcy, depending on the type of work you do, can be very risky unless you to bring in clients. Construction, maybe not as much so. There's construction going on everywhere. There's very few construction law attorneys that you can, that's a great practice area to always have access to work. Corporate, okay, good practice area. You can always get work from companies and things and develop a very good client base, but some practice areas within corporate are very dangerous. Securities and capital markets are about doing IPOs. What happens when the market slows down? So corporate can be very dangerous. Criminal law is a very good one because criminal law is something that you can always get access to work. You can become a public defender. You can do all sorts of things. Data privacy is one of the riskiest freaking practice areas out there. Everybody, when they're data privacy, everything's about data privacy. I can make a lot of job money. No, there's hardly any data privacy job will be. Not a lot. There's some, but it's very difficult, and that's a risky practice area. Education is a good practice area. There's always going to be education-related work. You can always do school. Well, actually, there's a lot where there's just sovereign immunity. But anyway, education is a great practice area. So there's always work. Energy, no, that's scary. That's a scary practice area. So my only point is in that family law, there's always going to be access to work. Entertainment, not so much. So when I look at practice areas, like immigration, always work. Healthcare, always work, right? Government, labor and employment, pretty much always work. People are having issues. Insurance defense, always work. Insurance, real estate, pretty much a lot of work. And tax, very difficult. People go into tax, and that's a very difficult practice area to stay employed in. So workers' comp is good. So my point to you just is, and I don't want to spend too much time on this, but having access to work is extremely important. Native American law, very dangerous practice area. Trust in the states is like a freaking home run. There's always access to work. So your job as an attorney is just to make sure that you always have access to work. And again, if you learn one thing in all these webinars that you've ever been to, it's that you have to have access to work. And it can be practice area based, it can be location based, you think about your location, and it can be firm based. If your firm doesn't have work, then you need to find a firm that does. That's a great reason for moving. You have to have access to work. You have to either have people that give you work, or you have to have your own work. Because if you don't have your own work, or people aren't giving you work, then at your firm, or the firm doesn't have work, then there's a lot of trouble. Here's the next question. At my firm, I'm not getting the type of work that I was promised when I joined. I feel like my skills are underutilized and affecting my job satisfaction. Should I discuss with my current employer still looking for a new job, or my skills and interests might be better aligned? Okay, so your job in the employer is your first, again, I want to just make sure you understand this. First 5 years are all about training. About training and learning. That's all you need to care about. If you're getting enough work, then that's pretty much, you just need to be trained and learn. If you're not getting the type of work you're promised, whatever, that means that the firm doesn't have the work. If you want to stay committed to your employer and not bounce around and do all sorts of stuff all the time, then you just do what you're given and do your best. If that's it. So you have two things. You have transactional work. I'm just going to bring this up quickly. Transactional work, and then you have litigation work. You're probably on one side or the other. I don't know if there's specific work that you would like to be given, but for the most part, I really would not worry too much about it. If you believe that you can get into a better firm that has a more consistent amount of work that you're promised, that you want to do, then that's what you should do. But your job at any law firm is to basically, I'm sorry, but to pitch in and try to do the kind of work that to pitch in and do the best you can with what they're to do work. Sorry, no sense, but the job is to worry more about what the firm needs than what you need. You need to do what you can. If the firm doesn't have the work that you need, and you feel like you're never going to have the work, then you're going to be better off. Then you can leave. Sure. During the webinar, you highlighted the significance of aligning our purpose with the desired result. How can attorneys transition between different sectors of the law, from corporate to public interest, ensure that purpose remains consistent while adapting your career? Okay, so your purpose should be related to a practice setting. If you transition from corporate to public interest, I don't really understand. So you do transactional companies, which is corporate work for companies, to help the public or a greater. That doesn't seem like those are connected. Purpose and health don't really, neither of them has anything to do with the other. And that's what I'm talking about when I say that people don't commit or do one thing in a practice area. They're just always moving around, doing all these different things. So I don't like that. What you're talking about, the idea of a purpose would be to be the go-to attorney for the largest of the world, trying to hours. You could even get more. You could say the largest pharmaceutical companies, so literally along pharmaceutical companies and companies in the world trying to do IPOs. That's a goal, right? So that's a freaking goal. That's a goal. So if you have a goal like that, you could say the reasons why, and then it would be things like because I want to do whatever, and I want because I believe that people giving them access. I'm just writing access to, I don't know, I'm not going to write this up, but if you have a goal like that, to be the go-to attorney for something like doing like, that's actually a goal. And then you would probably, with that purpose, and then you would want to work in the largest law firms doing the best law firms doing IPOs. Then you would look at working with people that had the best contacts for a pharmaceutical. And there's a whole bunch of ways to think about this, but what I'm just trying to show you is that just saying your purpose is you're moving between these different sectors without any real is not good. You need to know exactly what you want. Again, it could be to be the go-to attorney for the largest pharmaceutical companies in the world trying to do IPOs. This is who your client is. You know that, right? You want to be the people that people go to do this sort of work, and you want to be known, and then you want to do IPOs. It's securities law, and not just like anything. So it's very specific, and very few people are going to want to do something like this or ever commit to it. And if you do that, then all these things are going to happen. You're going to try to work in the best law firms to do IPOs. You're going to try to work you're going to find the best contacts and nurture those. And there's just all sorts of things that will happen once you commit to something like that, because you're going to have all of these little things that you're going to be doing for that greater purpose. Now, if your goal is just you're moving between different sectors, and your goal is I just want to be a happy attorney or something, that's not really going to get you anywhere like you want to do. I love the example that you gave for the lawyer who started out brilliant but failed because he was tactical. I'm not sure which one that was. What he could do to be strategic and convince law firm employers what could he do to be strategic and convince large law firm employers he is worth hiring at? What would large firm lawyers want to see right here from attorneys who appear tactical? Okay, great question. So I'm actually going to probably put this in the chat. So this is it's a secret, but this is something that I share with attorneys. I'm going to put this is something that we only share internally for attorneys that get interviews. So I'm going to stop sharing in a minute because I want to get an Adobe link that I can put in, and then I'm going to go over this. This would be very helpful for everyone. So let me see if I can do a share a link. So I'm going to put this link. I'm going to put this link in chat. Hopefully I do this correctly. Give me 1 second. I'll put it in for everyone to see. Is there a way to put this in the chat? Oh boy, it doesn't look like there is. Let me see. Give me 1 second, because this is actually very useful. I don't even know if there's a way to put things in the chat. Where we say Facebook, live on Twitter and YouTube. That's interesting. No, there's not a way to put this in the chat, unfortunately. But let me see if there is a way. Answer dismissed. Okay, I'm going to go over this right now with everyone, and it's going to take a minute or two, but it should be very helpful. The first thing is that I would like everyone to understand, and I would like people to read. If you're listening to this, it will help you. Let me screen share again. It'll help you a great deal. This is something I recommend you read. It's called A Message to Garcia in Your Career. It's on my blog, which is right here, Harrison Barnes. So I write that down. A Message to Garcia in Your Career. This is a story about people. It's just called A Message. Look at it in my blog about what you need to do to succeed, and when you're given a goal, and what you need to do to reach that goal. And it's actually very interesting. And what it basically says is that if you want something, you need to basically go out and be 100% committed to it. You need to have no excuse for not succeeding, and you need to basically set a goal. You do whatever it takes to reach it. And so please read this. It will help you. And so when you are interviewing, when you want something, you need to really commit to it, and you need to respect the people that have the expertise to take you somewhere. It doesn't matter who you think you are when you're interviewing with a law firm. People that are the most successful, that if they've dedicated 10, 20, or 30 years to the profession, are people you need to emulate and respect and want to work for. And they know a lot, and they know a lot better than you. Your job as an attorney, by the way, is to sell yourself. You have to sell yourself. If you're a litigator, you have to sell yourself to the judge. You have to convince clients to use you. You have to convince the other side of your position in negotiation. You need to be able to sell. You need to be able to sell. The most important thing for an attorney is to be able to sell yourself to potential employers and look like the best choice. Who looks like the best choice to an employer most of the time? The person that really wants the job, that's going to work, that's going to commit, that's going to respect them, that's going to work hard. Same thing for clients. That's what clients, people that are going to commit. They'll do everything they possibly can to represent them and do a good job. The same thing with an attorney. Imagine walking into an interview. I've seen this. These are people, I have people in my company that have been here for 20 years, and almost without every single one of them has said, I will do whatever it takes to make you I will work as hard as I can for you. I will do everything I can. And it doesn't matter what their qualifications are. Once they say that, they will get the job. Or if they say that when they're here, they will keep their job. The people that say, if you hire me, I will eat, sleep, and breathe this job, and I'll do everything I possibly can to succeed and to do my best, are the people that get hired. Those are who you would hire too. If someone came to mow your lawn, one person said, yeah, I'll mow it for $60 a week. And another person said, I will do everything I possibly can to make sure you have the best lawn. I will put the most expensive fertilizer on it. And when other people are using cheap stuff, I will make sure that I'm here at exactly 10 a.m. every Saturday, and I'm done by 11 so you can enjoy the lawn. I will make sure that I trim the most, that I do this the best. I will do everything I possibly can to do the best job for you. That would be the person that you would hire. You wouldn't care if one person is better. You would hire the best person. And that's what law firms do. It's the same thing that partners do that have the most business, that are making millions of dollars a year. They commit and they do everything that they possibly can for their clients. I remember once when I was working at clinic, coming back to this firm for some reason, but that's what John Quinn would always say to his clients or potential clients. If you give me this case, I will eat, sleep, breathe, and sleep this case. I will do everything I possibly can. And he said that when he was a small law firm, like 20 attorneys, and was able to convince huge corporations with things to use him. That's what you need to do to get a job. So this is just crap about interviewing, looking at firms, but what do the law firms want when they're interviewing you? They want people that will commit. And by the way, write these down. Just say, Harrison Barnes, can you do the job? Because these are articles and things that I do for law firms. I do webinars on them for law firms and things, but it's all about committing. You have to commit. You have to People that aren't committed will leave when things get difficult. People that aren't committed will cost the firm money. People that are not committed will not try to become better. They will not try to bring in clients. They won't work the hardest. All these things if you're not committed. So that's what law firms want. And how will they know that? Someone that wants the job and really wants it and is willing to work hard and do whatever it takes is going to be freaking 10 times more successful than someone with really good qualifications that doesn't know what they want. So your question is, how can I convince a law firm to hire me? How can I do this? How can I make sure, the only thing you need to do is show the firm that you're going to work harder than other people, that it's more important to you, that this is really what you want. When I look at resumes, it's very interesting. This, by the way, is an exceptional question too. When I look at resumes, then let me see if I can get back into the BCG database. What I was showing here, I want to make sure that I get to the right thing. So let me just make sure I'm mistaken. Yeah. So these are demo candidates. So let's just take a look at some resumes here, and I want to show you what I mean. So these are just demo kind of things here. So these are not real people. So this person went to University of Washington. They say that the top 30% of their class. And so they want to be they right now are a securities attorney. Then before that, they were it looks like a litigation attorney. Then before that, they were a personal injury attorney. Then before that, they were doing some sort of cases. There's no consistency here. This person has no freaking idea what they want to do. This is just crazy. So they're just doing all these different things. They don't know what they want to do. Not good, right? I mean, they're talking about how they do this commercial, constitutional law, courses of interest that they were interested in. There's no consistency. You don't know what this person wants to do. They're just looking freaking an attorney out, but there's no consistency. Look at this resume. This is how all these resumes work. If this person wants to be a securities attorney, everything on this resume should talk about securities. It shouldn't talk about trade regulation, antitrust, lending, higher ed, criminal. But this is what people do. If you're doing this and this is what your resume looks like, you're never going to go anywhere. You're just, because you don't know what you want to do. But this is what most resumes look like. Let's see this one at the top. Sarah Caroline Gunderson Detmer, corporate fund associate. That's great. Again, these are fake resumes. This person talks about funds. They talk about all the stuff they did. They've been at the same firm doing it for 3 years. And again, these are fake pictures. But then you go here, corporate fund associate, same thing. Fund. So fund associate, right? Fund associate. Then they were a fund associate here. Then this, whatever this Virgin Hotels legal intern, this should come out. So all this stuff. So what would I do with this resume, by the way? I just want to show you how I would edit this particular resume. Let me just take a look here. So if I was going in and looking at this resume and editing it, you can see here, all this stuff. You have all this stuff, these great firms, Cadwalader, Virgin Hotels, like nothing here should talk about freaking anything to do with nothing but securities or whatever this fund stuff this person's doing. It should be all funds, nothing here. You don't want people to look at your freaking resume and think that you're having anything to do, but this is it. Fund formation, funds. So this resume should talk nothing, should just say everything about funds. So this person wants to be a fund attorney. That's all they care about. So that's it. And you don't want to distract people with all this stuff. No, Substack, these kind of fund interests are okay, but nothing other. You want the resume to look like nothing other than this fund stuff. You want people to have a sense of that. And this is good because this resume right here talks about it, but then everything falls apart. So if you want to get hired by a firm, you need to look like that's exactly what you want to do. So what is the person? Patent attorney. Okay, so they're a patent attorney. So then you go here and let's see what the resume says. Good. North Carolina. By the way, your resume after 5 years of being out of law school should talk about nothing but it should be at the end. So you don't put your education at the top if you have more than 5 years of experience. So this particular resume, person is a patent attorney, right? So you don't want to, again, you go here to this, you want this person to look like a patent attorney. So no one cares about this environmental stuff. No one cares. You have to remove it. If you don't want to say you're the treasurer of the Student Bar Association, this may look interesting to you. You don't want to talk about moot court, but then you talk about patent law. That you don't want to talk about some freaking Phi Delta, whatever. And then you don't want to talk about your city council leadership award, or they're going to like the chemical engineers. They're going to leave you service. No one wants to see that. So none of this stuff matters. Your resume, you may be proud that you were a law tutor. Patent law attorney is good, but everything needs to look like this is what you want to do, because that's who people hire. That's who you would hire too. You would hire someone, this person got incredible grades, nothing but IP. Then here they're talking about nothing but IP, but unfair competition under the Lanham Act, fraud, conspiracy, RICO. No one freaking cares. Like, you take that crap out. And then I don't know what this person was doing here. They were doing stuff here. So then you talk about, take this crap out here, but it has nothing to do with being a patent attorney. You talk about this, prepare non-infringement stuff with patent. So I'm just trying to show you, like, someone that knows what they want to do does not have all this, does not have a resume that has anything to do with anything other than giving people the idea that you know what you want to do. So if you are watching this right now and you really understand what I'm saying, you have to look like, for an employer to hire you, you have to look like exactly what you want to do. This person is a patent attorney. So let's take a look at their other experience here. Then they talk about IP litigation. That's perfectly fine. That's good. Now, let's see, responsibility, privilege, looks like all patent related stuff. That's fine. Then student associate, all the stuff, and then publications, great. So this person is going to get a job. If you take out all this crap, this person will get a job, because everything is related to patent law. And if people look at it like, this person's a freaking awesome student, they've done nothing but patent stuff, they know what they want to do. That's who people will hire. That's who's going to get hired, not someone that has all this stuff that has nothing to do with it. That's what you would do too. If you wanted to hire someone, if you were hiring somebody, you would hire someone that looks dedicated and not dedicated, and the other way around. So I'm going into a lot of, these are fake people, by the way. I just want to make sure everyone understands. You want to make sure that everything on your resume looks like that's what you want to do. Now, this resume right here is a mess. I'm just going to edit that for you guys real quick, or girls, to show you what's going on here. So let's see here. This person's current job is representing insurance companies in coverage. They haven't been doing it very long, but before that, they were a law clerk. But this law clerk stuff has nothing to do with what they're currently doing. The person wants to be an insurance defense attorney. They just have to say they're I don't know if it's bar admission pending prob is, but what? No, you don't put that there. You just, because the person obviously didn't pass the bar. But the point is, your resume, if you want to get hired by a law firm, you want to get hired, you have to look like someone that wants the job, that's committed, that wants to do it, and all that sort of thing. So if you do that, you're going to be successful. You have to look like someone that really wants the job. So your question, to go back to it, and again, I apologize, I'm trying to give everyone a lot of detail, but your resume has to look like you knew exactly what you want to do. If you know exactly what you want to do, then you know exactly what you need, then you're going to get hired. There's a very famous story at the beginning of Think and Grow Rich. Let me just see if I can find that for you. And again, this is very important, because if you learn what I'm talking about today, your career is never going to be the same. So let me say $5, Think and Grow Rich. You just show you. And I recommend everyone read this to change the course of your life. Let me see here. My mammy must have $5. Let me just hear. I'm trying to find this work for you. $5. Let me show you particular. By the way, ebooks, so you can find it very quickly. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but you can see how. Let me see if I can find. Very smart, everyone, that, by the way, is on this webinar. It's just here. Okay. The example at the beginning of this book is, I don't even know if this is the book, is it? This is just, maybe kind of have, 50 cents. Okay. I'm not trying to bore everyone here. But it's a very important, really going way too proud here. Okay. There's an example at Think and Grow Rich where someone wants something, and this little girl, who's a daughter of a slave or something, I don't know, but really needs 50 cents for something. And she stands there and refuses to quit when older man says could get away, and he gives her the 50 cents. But the point is that you have to, if someone really knows what they want, if you really want to work in a large law firm, you will do whatever you can to try to be in situations and find people that are really going to hire you. And and stand out. You need to have a resume that looks like that's all you want to do. You need to convince people that's all you want to do. You need to put yourself in situations where you're going to able to achieve those and where you're going to get to where you want to go. You need to do everything you possibly can to do that. And if you do, you will write papers. You will make sure you find places that do that. You will volunteer. You will join associations. You will network. You will do whatever it possibly takes to put yourself in a situation where you're going to be able to do that, and you're going to be committed. And if you're committed, that's exactly what you'll get. You will get what you want if you're able to. You will get that if you are committed. And I don't know how else to say that, but people that really want to do something always figure out a way to do it, and they commit to it, and that's all I want to do. I want to do what I do, and I'm very committed to it. And it's just, you have to do something. You have to work in a large law firm. Anybody, by the way, can get a job in a large law firm if you're committed enough and you do everything it takes to do that, and you look like the person that really wants to do it. That can you do things that will put you in a situation to do it, whether it's emailing, contacting people inside law firms, or working in smaller markets and how you can get the bigger ones. Everything you can, tons and tons of things. Okay, I'm considering changing my career to law and have a question about goal setting. I love learning law in a classroom setting, but I'm not sure I'll be working closely with clients and practicing law. I've considered intellectual property finance and contract law. Can you advise how to find out if I will like practicing law? No, you can't just you can just go into law school and try to figure it out, but you have to have a passion for something. Something has to interest you. You can't just consider various things. If you want to do intellectual property, you have to research what it's like to do intellectual property, and you have to understand it. And if it interests you, if you're into finance, if it would interest you, you have to figure out what it is that interests you and why you want to do it. You can't just, you go to law school, but you have to figure out at some point along the way what it is that interests you. Okay, this person's question is actually an interesting one, and I like it because they're comments. This person says, I'm a senior antitrust associate at a big law firm overseas, and I would like to make partner. However, it seems the market is so competitive and oversaturated. I need boutiques at former public appeals giant law firms laterally. And the impression is the work is getting more and more commoditized. Big merger cases are more scarce. Less investigations are being launched, and there's just not enough work for all firms and attorneys. What can I do in this situation? Okay, so if you really enjoy doing antitrust related work, then you're probably doing defense. I would say this law firm overseas. I don't know if you want to work in the U.S. or where you want to go, but if you really want to do antitrust related work and find work, you need to look like the most logical and only choice for someone that, for someone that wants to hire you or whatever it is. You can also figure out angles. You could figure out, can I switch from being defense to doing plaintiff's work? Do I have the skills would I be interested potentially in working in a company, doing big company that has those issues? That I know an attorney recently that got recruited by Google that was in a law firm. You need to figure out where are your skills going to be the most useful, who has work that you can get close to. So let's say you're in London, I don't know, and there are people doing it in London. Who could you get a job with there? Who has the most work? The answer to your question is, so you need to find the person or group, practice setting, whatever it is, that has the most work, and that will hire you. Can get a job with that job with. What would I do if I was an attorney in your situation, trying to find work, and worried you want to be partner, but there's not enough work, and you're an associate, and you don't know, what you're going to do. One thing that I probably would do if I was in your situation is I would most attorneys. But I'm just giving you an example. Find look at these different sort of lists of people that do the kind of the work and you want to do. And contact them. Find the best antitrust attorneys and try to see what they're doing and connect with them and try to get a position with them. And if you really want to do something, you'll figure out a way to do it. What I don't like about a lot of attorneys, especially in your situation, and this is what a lot of senior associates do, they think they're victims. They're victims of their law firm work. They're victims of the legal market. They're victims of the economy. They're victims of this and victims of that. And that's the dumbest thing you possibly can do. You don't want to be a victim. You never want to be a victim. It's very sad. I know the quick question. My fiance, she was then very sad. A lot of people do this. She was then, she moved, she's French. She was half French. She lived in Paris. She's working for Sotheby's. And she brought in this big client, which was like a $400,000 commission that she would have gotten. And she's very young, like 26. And they stole the other people. They basically came in and said that they were the mission, not hers. And then she lost the money and completely lost her self-confidence. And for a long time thereafter, became a victim. And it was like, oh, I failed and I'm so upset and lost my confidence. But attorneys do this all the time. I know people that have become partners in major law firms but then they don't get enough business. And so then they lose their jobs and they're victims. They go in-house and that doesn't work out. The worst thing you can do as an attorney for whatever you're doing or whatever your background is becoming a victim. People that succeed don't allow themselves to become victims. Think about, and I'm not trying to be political one way or another, but think about someone like Donald Trump being sued by all these people, having to pay hundreds of millions of dollars for people suing him for, regardless of whether or not the claims are accurate, by being committed to felonies, by 36 felonies, by being, I don't know, whatever, sued, and all these things, like you could be a victim. So most people allow themselves, they become victims. Now, if I was in Donald Trump's shoes and one person sued me and I lost hundreds of millions of dollars, if I had it, I would be very upset and think, oh, I should crawl under a rock. Or if I was committed to 34 felonies, I would think, oh my God, I can't be president. Like all these different things, but so many people are like that. They allow themselves to be victims. The smartest thing you can do instead of being a victim is to never allow to figure out a way to be successful when other people want to be victims. And that for me is like probably the biggest piece of advice I can give you is you figure out a way to make it work, and you fight and you do whatever you can to be successful. And a lot of these questions today, oh, I'm an associate with, and there's not enough work, or I'm all these things, like they're victims. And I don't want to put it this way, and I'm not trying to be rude, but there are winners and there are losers, and winners go through all sorts of trials and tribulations and fail again and again. But they somehow succeed because their heart is in the right place. I gave you the example of the Navy SEALs earlier here, where people get chosen out of thousands of applications to do it, and then only 20 make it through this hell week, and they become victims. So never become a victim. That's the worst thing you could possibly do with your career and also your life. People judge things based on that. I was talking to this older person about 10 years ago, and he'd done all these things. He'd gone to MIT or something, and that wasn't MIT. What was it? It was like Yale. Maybe he'd gone to Yale for college and been very successful at a young age. And then basically was saying to me, like, it was very hard for me as a person who retired to become successful because I was short, and it's very hard to be a business person to walk in a room where everyone's tall. So I never was able to become successful in business or life. That's why I was never successful. That's crazy. That's being a victim. So no one should be a victim. You shouldn't be a victim because you're fired. You shouldn't be a victim because whatever happens to you. You should never be a victim. If you're a victim, that's where everything falls apart. Okay, thanks for this webinar today. I think this was a great topic. I think I get messages on a weekly basis of people that have watched this stuff, sometimes only gone to one webinar, but a lot of people go to a lot of them, but they've said that learning this stuff has changed the direction of their career and life. And so I hope for you today, this was a helpful webinar. You learned a lot because a lot of stuff we covered: victim, commitment, purpose, focus, like all these things. I hope it was successful, and thank you for being here today.